The cameras have stopped rolling, the final season has wrapped, and now the truth is finally coming out. What you're about to hear will completely change how you watch The Summer I Turned Pretty forever. Because behind those perfect beach house scenes and romantic triangle drama, there's been a real-life feud brewing that's so intense, cast members are actively avoiding each other at their own press events. We're talking about leaked interview footage, political controversies that split the entire cast, and industry insiders revealing why certain actors will never work together again. The evidence has been hiding in plain sight, and once you see what I'm about to show you, you'll understand why Amazon had to issue an unprecedented warning to fans about harassment and bullying. The Summer I Turned Pretty became more than just a show when it premiered in 2022. Based on Jenny Han's beloved book trilogy, this Amazon Prime series turned into a full-blown cultural phenomenon that completely took over social media every summer. We're talking about a show that didn't just gain fans, it created armies. Team Conrad versus Team Jeremiah wars raged across every platform, with fans analyzing every single glance, every piece of dialogue, every Instagram story for clues about who Belly would ultimately choose.
But here's what made this fandom different from others. The intensity went beyond normal shipping. Fans weren't just invested in the fictional love triangle between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah. They became obsessed with the real-life relationships between the actors themselves. Lola Tung, who plays Belly, Christopher Brini as Conrad, and Gavin Casaligno as Jeremiah weren't just playing characters. They became the faces of one of the biggest teen drama phenomenons since Twilight. The show's success was astronomical. Season 1 broke viewing records for Amazon Prime, and by Season 2, the cast couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed by screaming fans. Social media followers jumped into the millions overnight. Magazine covers, brand partnerships, award nominations. This was the kind of success that launches careers and changes lives forever. But with that level of fame comes pressure. And apparently, it also revealed some uncomfortable truths about who these people really are when the cameras aren't rolling.
Cousins is our safe place. Everything good, everything magical. Let's keep the conversation kind this summer. But then it got serious. They implemented a zero-tolerance policy for hate speech, bullying, harassment, and doxing. Think about that for a second. When has a major streaming platform ever had to basically threaten to ban viewers for how they talk about a teen romance show? This wasn't normal fan enthusiasm they were dealing with. This was something much darker. Industry insiders started whispering about why Amazon felt the need to step in so aggressively. Sources close to the production revealed that the cast had been receiving an unusual amount of targeted harassment, but not from random trolls. The harassment was coming from within different factions of their own fan base, and it was getting personal. Apparently, fans had started connecting dots between the actors' real-life political views and their on-screen chemistry, and the results were explosive. But the most telling sign that something was seriously wrong came from what should have been a celebration. Gavin Casaligno got married during the break between seasons, which should have been a joyous occasion shared with his TV family. Instead, it became the moment that exposed just how fractured this cast really was. Not a single cast member attended the wedding. Not Christopher Brini, not Lola Tung, not Sean Kaufman, who plays Belly's brother, not even Jenny Han, the creator and executive producer of the show.
Now, actors missing a coworker's wedding isn't automatically scandalous. People have scheduling conflicts, other commitments, personal reasons for not attending. But when literally every single person from your work family skips your wedding, and then fans start posting side-by-side comparisons with other TV show casts who treat each other like actual family, it starts to paint a very different picture. The internet detectives went into overdrive. They pulled up photos from other young adult show weddings where entire casts showed up to support each other. The Outer Banks cast, Stranger Things actors, even reality TV stars typically rally around their co-stars' major life events. But the Summer I Turned Pretty cast? Complete radio silence. No Instagram stories, no congratulatory posts, no behind-the-scenes photos. It was like Gavin's wedding didn't even exist to them. Then came the interviews that made everything impossible to ignore. During the Season 3 press tour, fans started noticing something was off about the group dynamic. These weren't the usual awkward moments you might expect from young actors still learning how to handle media attention. This was something much more uncomfortable to watch.
The moment that really opened everyone's eyes happened during a lie detector interview that was supposed to be fun and lighthearted. When Lola Tung was asked directly if she thought she and Gavin would have been friends in high school, her response was so diplomatically brutal that it went viral for all the wrong reasons. I think we would have been like, hey, in the hallway, you know? Yeah, but like different interests, different classes, different majors, you know? The body language experts on TikTok had a field day with this clip. They pointed out how Lola's entire posture changed when talking about Gavin. The way she looked everywhere except at him. How she chose her words so carefully that it was obvious she was trying not to say what she really felt. The pause before she answered. The forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. Everything about that moment screamed polite tolerance rather than genuine friendship.
But it wasn't just Lola. Christopher Briney's interactions with Gavin during press events started getting scrutinized frame by frame. Fans noticed how Chris would literally turn his body away from Gavin during group interviews. How he'd engage enthusiastically with Sean Kaufman and Lola, cracking jokes and sharing genuine moments of laughter, but the energy would completely shift whenever Gavin tried to join the conversation. The most damning evidence came from what fans started calling the isolation photos. At the Season 3 premiere party, where the cast watched the trailer together for the first time, multiple fan accounts posted photos showing the group dynamics. Chris and Sean were practically joined at the hip, laughing and whispering to each other. Lola was arm in arm with other female cast members, looking completely comfortable and natural. And then there was Gavin, standing slightly apart from everyone else, trying to look like he belonged, but clearly not included in any of the intimate conversations happening around him. The reason for all this tension finally started making sense when fans dug deeper into Gavin Casalegno's social media activity. What they found was a pattern of behavior that directly contradicted the values of a show created by a woman, starring a strong female protagonist, and beloved by a predominantly young, progressive fan base.
The controversy started when eagle-eyed fans discovered that Gavin had liked a post that read, "When you find out she's unvaxxed, not a feminist, loves the Lord, and aspires to be a wife, mother, and homemaker." The post featured a meme of Joe Rogan looking enthusiastic, and it was shared by an account called Masculine Revival. For fans of a show that's literally about female empowerment and a girl choosing her own path, this felt like a direct slap in the face. But that was just the beginning. Deeper investigation revealed that Gavin was following some seriously controversial figures on social media. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican congresswoman known for spreading conspiracy theories. Libs of TikTok, an account that specifically targets and harasses LGBTQ+ individuals and educators. And perhaps most shocking of all, Andrew Tate, the infamous influencer who's been banned from multiple platforms for his misogynistic views and is currently facing serious legal charges. The pattern became impossible to ignore when fans discovered more liked posts. Anti-vaccination content, pro-Israel posts during the height of the Gaza conflict that many found tone-deaf, videos from Jordan Peterson that contained transphobic remarks. Each discovery felt like another confirmation that Gavin's personal beliefs were fundamentally at odds with everything the Summer I Turned Pretty supposedly represented.
When the backlash started gaining momentum, Gavin tried to do damage control. He claimed that someone else had access to his account and was liking posts without his knowledge. He said he didn't even have Instagram on his phone most days and thanked fans for bringing it to his attention. But the explanation fell flat for several reasons. First, the pattern of activity was too consistent and too specific to his apparent interests. Second, this wasn't just one or two random likes. This was an extensive history of engaging with controversial content. And third, his explanation came only after he got caught, not as a proactive clarification. The political divide within the cast became even more obvious when you looked at who was liking and sharing what. Christopher Briney's social media showed support for progressive causes, environmental activism, and social justice issues. Lola Tung had shared content supporting women's rights and LGBTQ+ equality. Sean Kaufman's activity aligned with typical Gen Z liberal values. And then there was Gavin, apparently supporting figures and ideas that were diametrically opposed to his co-stars' public positions.
Industry insiders started talking about how this political divide was affecting the workplace atmosphere. Sources revealed that the tension wasn't just about different political opinions, it was about fundamental differences in values that made it difficult for the cast to connect on a personal level. When you're spending months filming together, living in close quarters, and expected to create believable chemistry on screen, having such vastly different worldviews can create real problems. The situation got even more complicated when fans started connecting the dots between the actors' personal relationships and their on-screen performances. Team Conrad fans began claiming that Chris and Lola's obvious real-life friendship translated to better chemistry in their romantic scenes. Meanwhile, Team Jeremiah supporters felt that Gavin's apparent isolation from the group was affecting his ability to sell the love triangle effectively.
Behind-the-scenes sources started sharing more details about how these tensions played out during filming. Apparently, the cast had naturally split into different social groups during downtime. Chris, Sean, and Lola would often hang out together, going to dinners, exploring the filming locations, and genuinely enjoying each other's company. Gavin, meanwhile, was more likely to keep to himself or spend time with crew members and local friends he'd made. The professional consequences of this drama started becoming apparent as the actors began booking their next projects. Christopher Briney landed a role in the new Mean Girls movie and had several other high-profile opportunities. Lola Tung was being courted for major studio projects and fashion brand partnerships. Sean Kaufman was building a strong social media presence and exploring music opportunities. But Gavin's post-summer opportunities seemed notably fewer and less prominent.
Industry experts weren't surprised. Hollywood, especially the young adult entertainment sector, tends to be quite liberal and social justice oriented. When an actor becomes associated with controversial political views, especially ones that could alienate key demographics, it can significantly impact their career trajectory. The fact that Gavin had also mentioned in interviews that acting wasn't necessarily his long-term priority didn't help his cause with casting directors and producers looking for committed, uncontroversial talent. The fan reaction to all this drama was intense and divided. Social media became a battlefield where different factions of the fandom argued about everything from the actors' right to their political opinions to whether their personal beliefs should affect how people view their characters. TikTok was flooded with videos analyzing every interaction, every interview moment, every social media post for additional evidence of tension.
Some fans defended Gavin's right to his personal beliefs, arguing that political differences shouldn't destroy professional relationships. Others felt completely betrayed, saying they couldn't separate his real-life views from his character anymore. The most vocal group insisted that the other cast members were justified in distancing themselves from someone whose values contradicted everything the show stood for. The creators found themselves in an impossible position. Jenny Han had built her career on writing empowering stories for young women, and her show had become a symbol of female agency and choice. Having one of her lead actors associated with anti-feminist content created a public relations nightmare that no amount of careful messaging could completely resolve. As filming wrapped on the final season, the professional requirements meant the cast had to continue promoting the show together despite their personal differences. But every joint appearance became an exercise in careful choreography.
Publicists worked overtime to manage group interviews, ensuring that potentially explosive topics were avoided and that the actors' interactions remained superficially pleasant.
The most telling moment came during the final press conference when a reporter asked about their favorite memories from filming together. The question should have been easy for a close-knit cast to answer with warmth and specific anecdotes. Instead, there were long pauses, generic responses about the beautiful location and working with talented people, had a general sense that everyone was choosing their words extremely carefully. What makes this entire situation so fascinating is how it mirrors the central themes of the show itself. The Summer I Turned Pretty is fundamentally about growing up, discovering who you are, and learning that sometimes people change in ways that make relationships impossible to maintain. The fact that the Real Life cast experienced their own version of this coming-of-age disillusionment adds an almost metatextual layer to the whole drama.
The legacy of this controversy will likely outlast the show itself. Future casting directors will remember how political differences can torpedo a production's promotional efforts. Young actors will learn about the importance of social media awareness and how their personal beliefs can impact their professional opportunities. And fans will forever associate The Summer I Turned Pretty not just with its romantic storylines, but with the real-life drama that proved sometimes the most interesting conflicts happen when the cameras stop rolling. As the final season airs and this chapter of these actors' careers comes to a close, one thing is certain. The Summer I Turned Pretty cast will be remembered as much for what happened behind the scenes as for what we saw on screen. Whether that's a cautionary tale about mixing politics with entertainment or simply a reminder that actors are human beings with complex personal lives is up to each viewer to decide. But one thing we can say for sure is that this level of documented tension between co-stars is rare in the entertainment industry, and the way it all played out in public gives us a fascinating glimpse into how personal beliefs, professional obligations, and fan expectations can create the perfect storm for Hollywood drama that rivals any scripted storyline.